This is a brand new 113 square metre home recently subdivided in the Hutt Valley. Coming up, we'll show you a time lapse of the build, we'll take a look at the floor plan, and we'll review the plans in detail explaining how we tackled some of the tricky problems on site. And stick around to the end of the video to see the entire finished home. So this is a corner section that our clients owned in Avalon Lower Hutt. Corner sites are great because you have multiple options to put the new access ways in as you subdivide them. On this particular one here, keeping the existing home was part of the brief. So the only spot to build a new home is over to the east of the property. We demolished this existing garage, put a fence up here, voila, you have a brand new section ready to build on. Before the guys can get to work on site, you need a good design, and one of the very first steps of a good design is having a good topographical survey. All these numbers here are spot heights. They relate to drainage and flood levels and floor levels. We're marking things like where are the existing services, where is the curb height and the crown of the road. You want your floor levels to be higher than, for example, your footpath and your curb. You want the water to run away from your building. So for example, you can see here that the crown in the road is 1915 or 19150, and the floor level of the house here is 19800. The floor level of the house is 650 mils above the road here. That is probably the maximum we can go, because if you want to get a car from the curb to the garage, you don't want a really steep, gnarly driveway. Before we can even get to work and do the foundation, we put all the subdivision services in and we clear the site. We then get a digger driver in, we strip all the topsoil, and we put down base course. So boys got to work on site and we laid down a riprap foundation slab, and we're doing it according to standard specs. One of the things about the riprap slab is that it's got this brick rebate detail here. So on a standard slab, we hang the frame 6 mils over the edge of the slab. But when you've got a brick rebate, you now need to push your rebate out another 125 mils. And your bricks sit in this rebate here. They hang off the edge of the building. The brick rebate is also 100 mils lower than the slab. This gets covered with a mole seal, and that seals it up and waterproofs it. That's one thing to think about, is that a brick rebate actually adds about 6 meters squared. Doesn't sound like a lot, but on a tight site, this does start to eat up some of your square meters. Once the slab was down, the boys got into framing. Again, being a reasonably simple rectangle with a gable end, the framing was pretty basic. We used pre-nailed frames for the majority of our builds, standard 90 by 45 H1 timber, and these went up like a dream. So this house was standard stud height, 2.4 meters. This was then followed with a eco-ply rigid air barrier. This is a thin layer of ply. All the joins get taped and this seals up the house. It's also got bracing elements in it. Here we have the floor plan. We have a single garage at the front of the site, large open plan living on the northeast of the property, 3 generous bedrooms with 1 bathroom in the middle. Considering it's only 113 squares, I really like that they got everything they needed on this floor plan, and it flows really well. Very simple design, incorporating everything you need and making sure it feels like there's zones for each thing. Fascia was metal, color steel. Because it was such a simple roof, we decided to put our own builders on it rather than using a roofing crew. They loved the variety of work, they loved refreshing their roofing skills. It meant that we kept our team busy, it meant that we moved the job forward. So the roof was long run corrugated iron. This section here on the east has a 20-degree slope, and this section here on the west has a 25-degree slope. And the other thing that's quite deceiving is that this east side is slightly wider than this west side. Again, this was all incorporated into the truss design, and you can see that here the lounge kitchen dining area was 4,150 mils wide, whereas the garage and bedroom side is 3,630. All in all, a pretty straightforward roof. These X's here are metal strap bracing that we put in. They're diagonally opposed roof plane steel strip braces installed in accordance with 3604. 3604 is our building code here in New Zealand. We have double glazed aluminium windows, and we have a aluminium residential front door. For the cavity, we used a brick, the Estate Range by Midland Brick, and in the end we changed the brick to a darker product. We use fiberglass insulation to the walls and the roof. We have Rondo steel battens, and then we line the walls with jib. On all our houses, we do skirting and architrave in a 60x12 single bevel. The house gets painted and plastered. Here we have the north elevation and the south elevation north from the street front, looking really sharp with the cedar above the doors, gives it like a great feature, and that's from Hermpack. The back south wall, this is the rear of the property, really simple and basic, a big brick wall. Here we have the east elevation coming off the lounge and the west elevation coming off the garage. Everything you need, nothing more. Generous windows, great amount of light coming through them. We've marked where the gas meter goes and the infinity gas unit. That's the rear access into the garage. That's the access off the lounge. There's also a sliding door off the front there. So two large sliding doors off the living in that corner. This here is the drainage plan. So all these pipes here you can see have been run both in the slab and underneath, and we've got the water tank out the back there. And here's some water tank details. It's actually a detention tank, and it's all about slowing down the flow of water to the stormwater system and letting it trickle in. We take this floor plan and this indicative landscaping plan, and we turn that into a slightly more detailed plan. What concrete we're going to use, what plants we're going to use. We can prep this area, we can prep the driveway, we can put topsoil down in this back corner. It means that we're looking at the completed build as well as the landscaping. If you're loving these technical videos, go ahead and click subscribe. Help us continue to build up the channel, and we will keep pumping out stuff like this. Now let's take a look at the finished interior of the build.